and in terms of law, that's correct. But in terms of the spirit of the moment, the question can be asked, why not the vice president and the president? What would it take for the BJP to be also generous or gracious is the point the opposition or Salman Soz is making.
Let me turn the argument on its head and let's delve into history a little bit, because the building that we're talking about, the current parliament building, was built and inaugurated in 1927. Barkha, do you know who inaugurated that building? By the way, congressmen, including the likes of Swargya Motilal Nehru ji, were present at that inauguration. They took no umbrage that the fact that the perpetuation of colonial legacy in that sense, because that time it was not envisaged as a building of free India, was done by Viceroy Lord Irwin. Not even the colonial head in that sense, the king. So the Congress, by the same yardstick, should have taken umbrage on two counts. One, that this was a perpetuation of colonial legacy, which they apparently were fighting against. And secondly, that it was not being done by the real head of the constitutional scheme of things for them at that time, which is the king, but in fact was being done by the executive, who was the viceroy. And therefore, this kind of argument makes no sense. Let me tell you why. The Congress party today talks about what is happening inside parliament. Salman drifted to a lot of arguments. Salman, during the UPA tenure, and I have the news reports to show you. Here's, if you could just put me back on screen.
Yeah. We cut back to Shehzad. There you are.
Yeah. UPA passed one bill every 4 minutes, right? Hindustan Times. Right? So this is the legacy of the UPA. We all know how they passed a large number of bills, including the Andhra Pradesh bifurcation law. So let's not get into how. And these are people who come from the legacy of emergency. The only time Parliament was reduced to a rubber stamp. By the way, when did the term rubber stamp president even come into play? It came into play the first time when Indira ji did not go with her official president candidate of Congress party and led another presidential candidate who won against the official Congress candidate. And then we also know during the emergency how proclamations were signed. There's a vivid cartoon that has been drawn to describe that entire affair. So who reduced the president to a nominal rubber stamp? Let's forget that. Mr. Salman Soz is today becoming very heavy about constitution. Let me ask him a point on history or historical fact. Who headed the Constituent Assembly of Baba Saheb Ambedkar? Sri Rajendra Prasad, who was also the first president of India, and who was inaugurating all the important installations at that time. Was it the head of the Constituent Assembly, or was it the head of in the Republic of India that was the president, or was it Mr. Nehru? How come when you do it, it is Chamatkar, and how come when others do it, they become Gunegar? I am not saying that, look, this is the speaker's prerogative, who the speaker felt fit to invite. I would also go ahead and ask one question. If the speaker was, some people suggested speaker should inaugurate it. Why should only the speaker then inaugurate it? We also have a chairperson of Rajya Sabha who is the vice president of India. Then the question can arise equally that why not the chairperson of Rajya Sabha, because both houses stand at the same pedestal. This kind of argument will never stop. This is a parliamentary building. It is constructed as an act of executive function. The executive head of the country, invited by the head of the legislature, in that sense the speaker, is coming there to inaugurate it. Nobody is being slighted. Nobody is being offended. It is a precedent that we followed in other installations, including the assemblies of various states. You can't have a standard there and a standard here. You should have had the same standard in both places, or else today you lose the right, and you lose the right particularly because your entire stand against the President of India, the current President of India, has been one that is marked by only insults and very demeaning commentary. So Salman, I think that we should get rid of the hypocrisy and forget convincing Shehzad. Convince Mr. Ram Gopal Yadav of the Samajwadi Party and convince Acharya Pramod Krishnam, whose bite I can see play out on television. He says, if not the Prime Minister of India, will it be Prime Minister of Pakistan or Prime Minister of Italy?